Hi there, Karen Flaherty from Living by Human Design. How are you doing today? Today we're going to be talking about the gate 8, which is the gate of contribution. It's making a creative contribution to the world. Okay, so we've got the sun in gate 8, which is right up here under the throat, and we've got the earth in gate 14, which is down here, coming off the top of the sacral. And this is the first week you can see that we've got a lot more color on the chart than usual. For many weeks now, we've had, or at least 2 months, I guess, we've had the 2343 defined. And again, this stays defined with the ajna and the throat. But this week, we're going to also have the G center and the sacral defined all week, because the 2 and the 14 are in, well, the 2 is in Uranus and the 14 is in Earth. So it's going to be there all week during this transit. So that gives us the channel of the beat, as we call it, the 2 with the 2 and the 14. And then add to that, by the end of the day on the 15th, we have, and by the way, it started early in the morning on the 15th, and it goes until the 21st of May. And then we add the will center, because the 51 has moved into Venus, and the 25 is already in Jupiter. We've got now the will center defined as well. So it's 2 motors, the sacral and the will center, along with the ajna, the throat, and the G center. So if you don't have any of these in your chart, you're going to have all of these in your chart this week. If you have some of them or any of them, they're going to feel, it's going to feel like a lot more energy, and it's going to give all those non-sacral beings, the projectors, the reflectors, and the manifestors, this sacral center, along with giving everybody the will center. So be mindful, because it's going to feel like you might want to do things that are a little more willful than usual, and you might find that other people want to do things that are a little more willful or egotistical or ego-driven than usual, or pushing themselves, right? That's the usual way that this shows itself. It's either showing off or showing that you can do lots of things that you may not usually get to do. So with this sun in gate 8, we call it contribution. It's the contribution to the benefit of others. It's a constructive contributions, right? It's a usually creative contributions is the way we usually think of it, but it's really any kind of contribution to the world that you can make. So it's the basic worth realized in contributing individual efforts to group goals, and that can obviously show up in lots of different ways. It is a very creative energy, though, so it can definitely be that. And so the incarnation crosses this week are the cross of contagion, contribution, and uncertainty. And then the gate 14, which is the kind of partner this week with it, comes off the top of the sacral, and this is called money, or possession in great measure. And this, we call this like the lucky gate in the chart. It's the only lucky gate in the chart, but it is generally about abundance or money or making money. It's the ability, with the sacral being defined, to, or not, to make a lot of money, or at least have the ability to make money. It's like you'll never be without money with this gate 14 in your chart. And so, think about it that way, making a contribution and making money. It might be a good week for trying out some of those ideas or skills or things that you might have wanted to try. It is part of the individual circuit, and it's the accumulation and retention of power through skilled interaction, coupling grace with control, and it's the way you work, right? So because it comes off the sacral, it is definitely about how we work. In the Gene Keys, compromise is the shadow, competence is the gift, and bounteousness is the CD. So I really like this graphic. It's the moment we surrender to life, we surrender to a dance that's so mysterious we can never follow it with our mind. And what he's talking about here is this gate 8, and while we call it contribution, it's really about making a stylistic contribution, a creative contribution. It's he even calls it rebel with a cause, right? It's different, it's very individual, but it's also creative. It's got style, it's got elegance. It's a really cool way of being in the world when you've got this gene key 8. The shadow here is mediocrity. If we're not using those talents, those skills that we've got, it can be really mediocre because and the reason it's mediocre is because we're wondering, how can we be different and not upset the apple cart, right? These people are different. Anybody with the 8 can tell you they are different. They march to a different drummer. They've got a different way of doing things. They want to really make things different for people. But if you don't, then you're just being the same, right? You're not using the difference for any reason, and it can lead to mediocrity. The repressive side of that would be, kind of a wooden personality, and the reactive one, which would be more of, anger or fear driven, is artificial. We'll seem artificial. So the gift here is style. And the style, is just, as he says in the dance, it's so mysterious that we can never follow it with our mind. Because when there's stuff going on, when you're in the flow, when you're being creative, it's not logical. It's not part of the logical circuit at all. Can have a lot of style too. And you'll see when we're talking about Janet Jackson later on, that's somebody with style, right? That's somebody who has used the gate 8 or gene key 8 in her conscious son to make a big difference in the world. He also says that mediocrity prevents people from being heroes or heroines, because if we're clamping down our own energy in this regard, then the mediocrity is showing up. There's no way that you're a hero or heroine in your own life. And he also says style is more than skin deep. It's the cutting edge of creation itself. So that style it's almost like emanating from people who have the gene key 8. So there are a number of people born this week with the Sun Gate 8. And so we've got, as I mentioned, Janet Jackson. We'll talk about her in a moment. Pierce Brosnan, Cher, Malcolm X, Henry Fonda, Richard Avedon, the photographer, Jesper Johns, the painter, Pope John Paul II, Frank Capra, the director, and a few other people. So let's talk for a few minutes about Janet Jackson. She was born on May 16th, 1966, in Gary, Indiana. She is the youngest of the 10 Jackson children, born to Joe and Catherine Jackson. And she is a manifesting generator with the 2-4 profile. So she is a natural, and she's got a lot of energy. Interestingly, it is the 3420, which is the archetypical manifesting generator, is completely in red. So it's all unconscious or a little less conscious for her. I'm sure she figured it out pretty quickly that she had perhaps more energy than some of the other siblings. It's the right angle cross of contagion. And as you probably know, she's a singer-songwriter, actress, and dancer. And so on May 16th, she'll be 56 years old. And in that time, she has done quite a bit. Her first album was in 1982 called Janet Jackson. It was produced with her father as her manager and producer. And that was the last one. After that, she left the family. She left the entertainment nexus that they had created, and did her own thing, basically. And as a manifesting generator with the 2-4 in her profile, with all of this, energy that she had, she was able to do that. There's also some, creative brilliance in there. Obviously, she's created now 11 different albums. She's considered, she sold over 100 million records. She however they consider them albums anymore. But she was the queen of a number of different genres during during the 80s and 90s. And she did funk, she did disco, she did rock, she did rhythm and blues. She did so many different things and actually fused some of those together. So a very, very creative presence in the industry. She's been named as, so with 100 million records, she actually is like second to Mariah Carey in terms of total sales. And in terms of dancing, she's second only in the industry, second only to Madonna over time. So she created quite a name because she took the music, created her own music, but also created the dance steps and the stage shows and the everything that went with it. She was also an actress, as you might remember. She was in Fame and Different Strokes and one other show. So in her early years, she was an actress. Actually, as a child, as a young person, she was an actress, and then got into music and creating her own albums and stage shows and concerts and, just you name it, she's done it. And she's worked with a lot of wonderful people. She did have a bit of a setback after the Super Bowl incident, but she has rebounded from that and is making music again. Just taking a quick look at her chart, she's got the 6447, which is a very abstract. We call it the Channel of Abstraction. It's the creative side of the brain. If the 63-4 over here would be the logical side, she's got the other side, the abstract side. It's very creative. As we know, she's got the 4323, which, well, we talked about that last week, and it's an ongoing channel in the transits, but this 23 is that channel of freak to genius. So she is, I haven't checked some of the other siblings and whether they had it or not, but this is something that's a very individual voice, coming up with breakthroughs, coming up with new ways to say things, and very individual. She's actually been, what she melded was the music, the different genres, and a very sexy approach to it, which was her way of doing things. It's interesting that she doesn't have any of the defense circuit. So she doesn't have, for example, what I would usually look for in the 59, being the channel of sexuality and intimacy, but she does have the 4521. She's got the gate of the Queen. She's got the gate of 21, which is control. This is the entire money line. So she's got the, as I was saying, the abstraction, very creative. This 2343, very individual. This 3420 is also very individual. The only tribal energy, and the 214 is very individual. So the only tribal energy she has, the 2145. Of any of the children, I suspect this is probably one of the more individual charts of the Jacksons, and she also had that money line. So she was all about the money, making money, creating the money for herself, about the business. It's part of the business circuit. And she doesn't have any tribal energy, any other tribal energy. She also has the gate of ambition, also part of the business circuit. And gate 30, very, very intense person. She's got the will center. She's going to get it done. If she says she's going to get it done, she will get it done. She's got the defined G and the defined throat. So she's able to, know what direction she wants to go in, be lovable and find the direction. She's got the ego and the willingness and the willpower to get things done. She's got the sacral to just do it all day long. And so she put it all together and she made a career for herself that was separate from her family. She was prescient enough to see that there were issues with the family business and the way it was going. And interestingly, the first album was called Janet Jackson, as I mentioned. The second one was called Control. And she's got the gate of control here, the 21. It happens to be in Venus, which is her, so it's all about her values, right? The 21 is about her values. On this side, we've got the gate 60, which is about evolution and growth. So you put those together, and she was evolving and growing, and she called her second album Control. Because she was then in control of her own life, and she found producers to work with her and to get it done. She's also got the 37, which is about peace and harmony and bringing community together. She has the 22, charm and grace. She's not an emotional person. She's just a get it done kind of person. Very, good business head and great at getting things accomplished. And she's got the 36, which is all about crisis and drama. And she was able to get through whatever dramas occurred as she was going through. So as I said, she's got the 60, which is all about evolution and growth, the 54, ambition, very open spleen, which can be, either lots of fears or completely fearless. And I'd say, leaving her father was not easy. And she said that in interviews, leaving the family business, leaving her father and walking out and basically going on her own and being her own woman was not an easy thing to do. So I would definitely put her in, standing up to Joe Jackson was a very fearless thing to do. And what else? She's got that 8. She's got the 15, which allows her to be, it actually helps with all of her philanthropy. She's involved in a number of different social justice movements and other kinds of things where she's involved with charities and has a very good heart. And so she's doing that with this 15, which is called the love of humanity. It's also the gate of extremes, which allows her to do everything she's doing and not really keep needing to keep a specific schedule all the time. So she's got an amazing chart for somebody who's accomplished all that she has. She had what she needed to do that. She's got the open root, open solar plexus, and open spleen. So she was somebody who was, could feel the pressure, could feel everybody's emotions, could feel their fears, and would take those in and react or work with them in a way that worked for everybody. So it's a great chart, and happy birthday, Janet. So I hope you all have a great week. Be aware of feeling perhaps a little more creative, or feeling like you want to make a creative contribution to some project that you're working on, or a charity, or something in the family. It'll be that kind of a week. So hope you have a great one, and also mind the fact that there'll be the Will Center in most people for for everybody for the entire week. So be careful of that. Take care. Have a great week. I'll see you soon.